Hello and welcome to Tabletop Oddity. My name is Jay. I hope you're doing very well today. And this is going to be a spoiler review / talk of the Rise of Skywalker, the episode 9 for Star Wars. Obviously, we normally cover Star Wars Legion. I'm not really going to talk about Star Wars Legion too much, but if you've not seen this film, I probably will spoiler it because I don't trust myself to not keep spoilers, and I've got plans to talk about them about halfway through. But please, if you've not seen this film, go check out one of my other videos, something like that. If you have seen the film, well, we're gonna play the trailer, and then we're going to chat over the trailer, I guess, is what we're going to do. So I've got some notes, so bear with me. Now, the title of this the title of this video on YouTube is probably going to be a bad film, but a good Star Wars movie. So what do I mean by that? So I actually think episode 8, The Last Jedi, was sort of the reverse of that. I thought that was a really good film. Like, when I was sat in the cinema watching episode 8, I was like, whoa, this is brilliant, I was thinking. But then the more I thought about it as I left, the more I unraveled it, just without even looking at like comments on online, etc. The more I just naturally unraveled it, and I thought, oh, actually, it doesn't do Star Wars very well in some ways. There's a lot of questionable decisions, but it was actually a really entertaining movie. And I sort of feel like this is the opposite of that, and partly because like the first, I don't know, hour and a half, the pacing of the film is just strange. It's very, 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 very quick. Like, they don't let you take a breather. There's no time to settle. There's no even character development necessarily. Maybe Rey's doing maybe a bit of training or what have you, which I think we saw in the trailer. But really, there's not much character building. And I mean, yes, we're in the third film, but it sort of felt like we could have had a bit of it. There's a little bit with Paul, but I mean, I'm not sure if that's the first half, but there's a little bit with Paul, maybe. Honestly, though, it's very, very quick. It goes from scene to scene to scene to scene, and there's just no time to think, and there's no even explanations about how we get to these situations properly. It's all like, oh, we get told the sentence, I'm off. Some of the times it's like, oh, the group's deciding to do something. Oh, Rey's already gone and she started it. You know, it's that kind of thing. It's just like, boom, like no time, no breathing space, which I do think is actually part of possibly a problem from episode 8. Obviously, episode 8, the controversial one, it sort of closed a lot of storylines, which unfortunately possibly needed to still be open by the time that this film came around, because it needed to close them in a more satisfactory way. I think episode 8 didn't raise enough new questions to be answered. Therefore, this film sort of has to raise its own questions and then answer them. And like literally in the scroll, so it is spoilers, but like it's in the trailers. Literally, the opening scroll says, "Oh, there's rumors, whatever it is. I can't remember the exact wording. That Palpatine is back." It's like, boom, the opening scroll of that. Like it sort of feels like that should have been a reveal, you know, perhaps done a little bit more considered than that. Now, they do say, apparently they've said that Palpatine coming back in episode 9 was always part of the plan. It doesn't feel like that. And if that was the case, maybe somebody could have told Rian Johnson to actually like maybe hint at it or something, or even hint at it in episode 7. To just start with it in episode 9 feels very strange, but I do think that episode 8 backed itself into a corner. It's like episode 7 is very standard, nothing amazing in it. It does what it does well and okay. I don't really think anybody has too big of a problem with that one. And then episode 8 just slams the door in everybody's face, and all the questions get answered, but in an unsatisfactory way, and it subverts expectations, and it doesn't really do it very well. And you've got characters that you're forcing together. You've got the Canto Bite stuff where it doesn't make any sense. You've got Rey just getting better and better. You've got the disrespect of Luke and stuff like that. So it felt like this film was a way of, well, we're going to create what I say, it feels like 2 films in one. That's the speed that it goes at least it does in like my head. And I said, like, Palpatine, it felt really forced, the fact that you needed him. Like, you needed to have Palpatine. Once Snoke was dead, you either go for something like Dark Pelagius, which would have been a little bit weird considering we'd never seen him before, or you go to Palpatine. And it's not really explained how Palpatine's alive. I guess there'll be something that explains that. I'm not too worried about it or anything. He just happens to be there. He's like, oh yeah, I made Snoke and what have you. Spoilers. I told you we were doing spoilers, so I did warn you. Yeah, he needed to be there to fill the void, and I do really like the actor who's, I can't remember his name, so do forgive me. But yeah, I liked his performance of it, but him being there is just a problem. That it was never properly set up or what have you, at least in my eyes. Not that, not necessarily. I'm not sure when he comes into the original trilogy. I can't remember when he comes in, but it didn't feel as forced as this, I think. So there's a couple of things with like items in the film. The spoilers that everybody posted online beforehand, if you did check those out, they're all pretty much like accurate. The dagger thing is just like, meh. Like, why have you got this dagger? And it just feels like you're trying to Indiana Jones it. I didn't really like that bit, to be fair. I'm going randomly through my notes, which I made literally just before making this video, so do bear with me. I did feel like that there's no real threat in the film. Like, there's no danger, there's no apprehensiveness. I was never sat there wondering, like, on the edge of my seat being like, ooh, what's going to happen next? It all felt reasonably formulaic and reasonably planned, and the heroes were never really going to die. However, again, we're talking spoilers, so there are spoilers in this video. The C-3PO getting his memory wiped is just you're like, oh, that could be a sentimental thing. One last look at my friends. But none of the characters were even bothered. It was never really a concern. I felt like there was a bit of weirdly like disrespect to C-3PO and the droids. I honestly didn't feel like they were treating it with reverence in any way, shape or form. And when the thing with Chewie was where you think, oh, he's dead, but again, they didn't really dwell on it. And the fact that he's escaped on a different craft, which you just never even see, is just like, why? How? Why? I felt it was a little bit weak. And that it was like very quickly dealt with, but meh, it is what it is. There are some. I actually think there are some like good things about the film. I actually sort of preferred the second half when Kylo Ren, ditches the mask of Kylo Ren in a sense, and he has that classic change of heart that you get in Star Wars films. I actually really like it. It feels like it slowed down a little bit. It feels like everything starts coming together. It feels like we actually spend a few moments on characters and stuff like that. I really liked Kylo Ren's character in this. Adam Driver, I think he actually did a really good job. I think it's really well acted. He's my favourite part of this film, for sure. I'm still indifferent about Rey, but for sure I actually really liked the Kylo Ren scenes. I enjoyed J.J. Abrams, I think it was, I don't want to say it's a subtle dig at Rian Johnson because it sort of fits with the story, and that's how Luke comes and he's like, should you not treat this with a little bit more respect kind of thing instead of just tossing it away. I really enjoyed that. We think, me and Katie, when we were watching this, that we heard, who's the guy who played Deadpool? For some reason I can't remember the name of the guy who plays Deadpool. We think we heard him, but I'm not 100% sure. Then I also really enjoyed Hux and the new Commander Pride, played by Richard E. Grant. I thought Richard E. Grant's a really good actor. I never really liked Hux, so this film works well for me in that sense. And there were some really amazing set pieces to this film. Like really incredible shots, like the desert scenes was incredible. The scene on the in the sea near the Death Star and stuff like that, just really well. The cinematography, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, was actually really cool. I really liked it, but even though they looked spectacular, they didn't really have much purpose. I think really to the film, yeah. Like I said, there was never really any threat, so the purpose of these scenes were negligible. That's just my view. And I think that like Star Wars fans might point to, hey, we've got this new healing power. Didn't really make that scene didn't actually make too much sense. She's just like, how did she know that this snake thing was injured? Like, I'm just gonna heal it. I'm not even sure I can heal it. And then she's like, I just transferred some of my light energy or whatever it was. I think some of that will annoy fans, but then it does some other things like Rey is actually training, so there's some good parts there. overall, for like as a Star Wars film, I think it's sort of it doesn't do anything badly as a Star Wars movie. As Star Wars content, I think everything's quite cool. You've got really cool looking scenes, really epic scenes, nice action, decent cinematography. As I said, like really good cinematography, if I'm honest. You've got that kind of stuff. But as a film, it just felt like it was honestly trying to do too much. And the pacing of it was very much in your face. It was just like ticking boxes. You would like the movie just felt so speedy that it wasn't necessarily hard to keep up with, but it felt like it was lacking a bit of character. I really like what they did with Leia. I thought Carrie Fisher and the way that they pieced that together was fantastic. I enjoyed that. But yeah, as a film, I just felt I can't like it's not bad. I say bad film, like it's not terrible, but I just don't like when I was watching it, I wasn't enjoying it the same way I was enjoying The Last Jedi. I didn't enjoy it. If that makes. I was sat there thinking, this is bad. That's a bad scene. Whereas in The Last Jedi, I was like, yeah, I felt some of the tone of the comedy was off and stuff like that, but the pacing of it was fine. Like we dwelt a little bit on Luke, we dwelt even on Finn and Rose and stuff like that. So we'd spent time with the characters. Whereas on this, it's just like meh. Even like Billy Ray D coming back, that felt really instant. Like it felt forced and instant. It didn't feel like we'd spent time with him or there was any reason for him to be there. We'd not asked him or anything. He just turns up. But again, that's possibly needed because of the characters. There are a couple of people who come back in this film that I really like Harrison Ford. And I enjoyed the scene where Rey's like getting told the info, like getting cheered up by the voices and stuff like that. For like Star Wars Legion, that's pretty much the end of the review. I've just rambled on for a little while. For Star Wars Legion, there were a couple, like some of the jetpack stormtroopers were cool. The vehicle that the speeder that they were on, that cool bit where they're like there's a speeder and it jumps and it then jetpacks, all pretty cool. Like nothing new really. Like in terms of maybe, I never actually spoke about the Knights of Ren. They were cool but very underutilized. Like they really didn't do anything. It sort of felt pointless them being in there. But I say nothing new. We got the Knights of Ren, and we got those cool. It seemed like we had like enough new troopers and new styles of troopers and stuff like that. That they, when we eventually do get the First Order, and whatever it's called in this one, the Resistance, there will be enough variety there for sure. And I think it's nice to have like the new general or whatever he was called, Pride, as I think his name was. It's nice to have stuff like that. I think ultimately they can possibly make it visually unique enough, but for like there was no location that was incredibly like new. The thing on the sea is not exactly going to be a place for a battle where the Death Star is. The desert planet pretty samey. The forest planet, there's nothing amazingly new and iconic, I don't think. And I think that's the problem with the film. There's nothing amazingly new and iconic. It just sort of ticked all the boxes that you sort of need it to tick. Rey being Palpatine's granddaughter was like, when she does the lightning, you sort of see it coming. It's not really the most thrilling thing in the world. And that is a plot line where you get told, who's your parents? They're nobody. Oh, you're actually Palpatine's granddaughter. It's just, all right, you've got to do it, I guess. That's it. I just wanted to ramble about the film because I can and I wanted to. Have the most beautiful day. Do like and subscribe if you're not already, but this is mainly a Star Wars Legion channel, so if you're here just for the review, I do apologise. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.